Hey, what's up, guys? It's Brad, and today I just want to talk a little bit about why the Hunter Biden case is such a big deal, and why it's being, of course, obviously censored by big tech. I mean, let's just get into all of it. So, the first thing that makes this such a big deal, I just saw another article posted by the New York Post today with, just some new scandalous information about Hunter Biden. And if you haven't been following the case, we're in the midst of one of the most important elections, not only for the United States, but actually the world at large, between Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and President Trump, and presumably Mike Pence as his VP pick, although we just kind of assume that's what's happening because he's gotten so little coverage, never even been asked about it really, who his VP pick was. Whereas Joe Biden, it was a big deal who the VP pick was going to be, and of course he picked, in the typical leftist fashion, one of the most corrupt, unqualified individuals possible, Kamala Harris. Liar too, both of them obviously. So why is this thing with Hunter? So let me just do a little background too. If you haven't read or seen the articles, because big tech has literally banned people from repost. They banned the New York Post from literally posting their article. A 200-year-old newspaper, older than Twitter and Facebook and all these businesses. They banned them because they claimed it needed to be fact-checked or something. Dude, it's the New York Post. It's been around longer than all of us here. So it's a credible source. But because it damaged the credibility of, the amazing, illustrious Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they took it down. So what was in the first article, or the first release or dump of information that they put out there? Well, the first one, if you didn't see it, pretty much talked about how there's this massive pay-per-play scandal between, basically Hunter Biden is the conduit. He would travel to Ukraine and China and these different countries, and he would broker deals to, at the time, set up meetings between, people in the private sector. In the Ukraine, there's emails and text messages, going back and forth between this energy company that put Hunter Biden on the payroll, where he's getting an insane amount of money, like $2 million a year, just to sit on the board, while literally the guy's dishonorable discharge from the Navy. There are tons of pictures and videos of him doing degenerate activities like smoking crack. There's no way that he basically is getting paid this because he's setting up communication lines between. By the way, the person that owned that Ukrainian power plant is extremely corrupt and well known to be a bit of a robber baron himself, and he's setting up that communication between him and Joe. And, this has been going on for a long time. So there are all these text messages that came out about that. And everybody already knew that, Biden, Hillary, and Obama and all this, we all know how corrupt they are. We all know they're fucking us over and everything like that. And then today, more information came out about this again. I don't know why they released this over just more damning, treasonous, aiding and abetting and seditious acts against the American people. They didn't release that information. No, they released pictures of Biden having a fucking emotional breakdown, and he's having these issues where he's crying out for help and he's so upset, and I don't know. I didn't even look at it really, because I'm not interested in that. Like, I feel bad for. Actually, the article made me feel bad for that kid more than anything. Having Joe Biden as a dad must be pretty rough. I can only imagine having somebody that corrupt and that evil and that much of a liar must really suck. So it actually, even though there was a bunch of criminal shit in it that he should go to jail for, and I think the majority of people felt bad for the kid after the article. But here's why the Hunter Biden thing is such a fucking issue. The amount of dirt that is on that laptop, and the fact that also China and Ukraine, and by the way, there are people from Ukraine that are coming to testify They're willing to testify. According to Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's personal lawyer, went on camera, said today that there are people from Ukraine flying in that are going to openly testify, not anonymous sources. They have direct ties. It's an open and shut case in court. I know the public likes to ignore the majority of the evidence, unfortunately, and of course liberals will just say, "Oh, it's fake. Trump paid them to say that," even though there's all this evidence otherwise. These other governments that literally, I mean, say Joe Biden gets into office, right? These other governments have all this dirt on the sitting U.S. president. That means they have tremendous influence over him in terms of blackmail, their capabilities to blackmail him. They probably have so much stuff on Hunter Biden alone, and Joe Biden and Obama and Hillary and all these people, that they basically have, if Joe Biden gets into office, you realize that he will be a puppet for those people. It's not going to be Kamala or Dianne Feinstein, these dumb, liberal, coddled, pathetic women and people, old lawyers in Congress. It's not going to be them. It's going to be gangster motherfuckers from Ukraine and China and Russia, and they've got all the dirt, and they're going to pull their string and be like, "Well, look, you are going to sign a deal, or we will release this picture." And Joe Biden will be like, "I don't know, okay." And then he just goes and he passes this legislation, and then they get they'll just do whatever they want. Trump said this in the last debate. He's like, "They're going to dominate you, Joe, you know that." And Joe's like, and then he recites some line, but he didn't deny it. He knows he's going to get dominated. There's so much open and shut evidence that damns us all to hell if this guy gets into office. It's a big deal. Ignoring it isn't going to make it it's not going to make it go away. The best thing that we can do is talk about it and realize, dude, this is a serious, serious issue. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a more serious issue. This guy is the most, I mean, this is really, really insane. This is like mutually assured destruction. The Democratic Party is basically mutually assured destruction. They're putting in it. It doesn't matter what their dumbass reasons are for putting Biden and Kamala Harris in office. It is mutually assured destruction. They're going down. We're going down as Republicans. Some other country might come and take in all of our resources and put us all, just do whatever they want with us as American people. Mutually assured destruction. Crazy. It's like nuclear war. There's no good outcome for a nuclear war. Zero. Unless there's some other, like, multi-dimensional portal that's easy to access and painless to go through that I'm not aware of right now. I can't imagine a fucking scenario where nuclear war is like a good thing for either people, okay? That sounds pretty nuts to me. So that's my thoughts on Hunter Biden. It's a big deal. It's a really, really, really big deal. And this was, I was watching Dan Bongino's analysis of this. He's a Secret Service guy. He used to protect the presidents and stuff. Very smart guy, very level-headed. Rudy Giuliani, very, very smart guy, very level-headed. Very normal, common sense approach. I really like Rudy Giuliani. I like Dan Bongino. I like Tim Pool. I actually put a list of my favorite news sources on my website yesterday. I think I published the article. My blog is a work in progress, but you can check it out. My favorite news sources are there, and I tend to go with news sources that I think are just honest. They're just honestly reporting the facts and giving their gut reactions, and then they also take input from other people to, maybe gather some balance on their approach and how they view it. And I try to do the same thing. I would listen to liberals. I would listen to, conspiracy theorists that are off the rails. And I try to evaluate, make my own voice heard about this stuff. it is important. This is probably one of the most important things that we've ever faced. Probably one of the most important threats and just the most important issues we've ever faced. The guy they're running now, Hillary Clinton, obviously massively, massively, massively corrupt. Probably way more evil and corrupt than Joe Biden. You know, it's not to say that Joe Biden isn't insanely corrupt. You know, they're making points on Rudy Giuliani was making these points about, and this goes for all politicians. It's like, how are all these politicians so rich? There are a lot of millionaires in the government. There are a lot. And some of the richest people. How is Nancy Pelosi and her husband, how do they have over $100 million? How did the Bidens have hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars? I mean, what did they do? It's not like they created some incredible value for the marketplace and did a whole business and hire all these people. No, they're just ripping off the American people. They have all these big mansions. Obama, dude, the sitting president, the presidential salary, I believe, is like, it's generous. It's like $100,000-$200,000 a year. And it's, you know, I mean, that might even be a little bit low for the president. The president should probably make maybe a bit more than that. That's like a New York City, you know, mid-level manager, mid-level sales guy, marketing director type wage. The president should maybe make more than that, but they're worth millions and millions of dollars. The Obamas have multiple huge homes, mansions across the United States and abroad. Where does that money come from? And we all just sit back, we're just like, oh, well, you know, they're really smart and they're really, you know, the president is just, they're just rich. Not so. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense, dude. It just doesn't add up. Clearly, there's some really, really insanely high levels of corruption going on within the government. Clearly. And we knew this, but now with the difference between Biden and Hillary is that there is damning evidence right there in front of us. And there's probably, I mean, I know there's droves. Hillary Clinton's email server. The bitch is still walking around. So I'm hoping and praying that one of these, there's got to be somebody in the government that's got some goddamn balls to release this information right now. But yeah, that's the significance of the Biden thing, is that probably more than any other of these career politicians, he will be operating at the pleasure of robber barons in the Ukraine, the Chinese Communist Party. This guy came out yesterday and he said, we're looking at making vaccines mandatory. Cuomo said that the other day. Mandatory vaccines. And Americans are so, like, they're just, I think most people know that this is bad, but they're not speaking out, and they're not, like, you know, just, I mean, honestly, if there's anybody that should be really pissed off and rioting in the streets and marching to these governors' houses and just demanding fucking answers, it would be Republicans. It would be marching to big tech, their houses, and being like, hey, you got some explaining to do right now. I mean, if 10,000 of us showed up and we were freely expressing our Second Amendment rights, I have a very hard time imagining that they'd be able to stop that. 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people just marching on these people's houses, demanding fucking answers. This is crazy. I mean, this is really, really a rape and a violation and a theft and massive criminal activity, and thinking about how many people have been put in jail that have lost years of their lives. They couldn't see their kids, they couldn't see their wife, they couldn't chase their dreams. how many people died alone because of medical mismanagement and COVID, and they knew what it was. People lost their lives, and these people just they're laughing about it. They think it's fucking funny. There's nothing funny about this, and frankly, I think that's what's going to happen. Ultimately, I'm crossing my fingers and I'm hoping that Republicans and just regular families will get to the point where they're so pissed, and then we organize and we just huge groups of us just go and ask, just, I mean, fuck being politically correct, dude. What is this? This is completely. They're literally attempting to steal an election. They're attempting to. They've destroyed countless businesses while they get rich. They get richer. You get poor. They're selling us out to a communist party. This is absolute fucking bullshit. And the point where we all just realize that and stop being so weak is really the point where this all changes. Because there's, like, literally the people, we the people, make up about 99.999% of the population. The elite, Illuminati type fucking people make up virtually none of this. And it's really time to just go up to them and be like, let me see your cell phone, bitch. Open it up. Like, I want to see what you've been texting. I want to see your emails. I want to see what you've been doing behind the scenes to hurt the American people, to sabotage this election, to steal. I also want to know about the satanic rituals that you regularly are a part of. I'd like to see right now, before you have a time to, go and just casually wipe it out. I mean, it's crazy. You see how these people are treated with kid gloves, and it's wrong. It's so wrong. I mean, I've been arrested, and when I was arrested, I wasn't getting treated with kid gloves. They pinned my hands behind my back. They put the cuffs on super tight so that literally cut into my wrists. I was cuffed like this for hours in the back of a truck. I was thrown into a cell with a bunch of dangerous dudes that were high on different drugs, and I was there all night. And it is what it is. And and that was only the beginning. I got lucky that I didn't go to central bookings or what do they call it, the tombs or whatever. I was really lucky. And I'm really lucky I didn't ever go to prison or anything like that. My charges were all expunged. Doesn't matter. It was for smoking a bowl of weed. Literally, I was on the side of the street smoking a bowl of weed. Some undercover cop comes up to me. He goes, "Yo, what is that?" And I'm like, "Huh?" And then he takes his badge out. He's like, "NYPD, put the fucking thing down." And I'm just like, "Oh, Jesus Christ." And then got arrested. It sucked shit. Spent a long time in the holding cell, and it was just a really, really shitty experience, for sure. So, whatever, man. It's not whatever, actually. If I had to go through that, and mine wasn't even that bad, but then literally Hunter Biden is stealing millions and millions of dollars and getting away with it, and living this. He's got like a fucking Lamborghini. He stays in all these fancy fucking hotels. He gets treated with kid gloves. I watched the Epstein documentary the other day. The guy is literally just, when he eventually went to jail for the rape and the sex trafficking of young girls. No big deal though, right? They were just like, "Oh, Mr. Epstein, would you mind if you checked in with your parole officer once a day?" And then when he eventually gets locked up, he just goes and does whatever he wants. He just leaves the prison. He leaves the prison. His door was open. He got to leave the prison. If you watch like Wes Watson's YouTube channel, he talks about what real prison's like. Dude, in real prison, the kind that you and I would go to, you would be racially segregated, and you would probably have to fight or potentially do dirt on behalf of your race, and then do another 5, 6, or 8 years. You go in for like a weed charge, you get a year in prison, and then because you're white, which is what I would be, they're like, yeah, you got to go and get rid of this guy. Listen to the stories. I mean, there's so many stories about this. There's a good chance that would happen. If you're rolling your eyes, you've never been in prison. Dude, prison's a scary goddamn place. So that's it. I mean, it's a fucking scary place. If you don't believe me, just go onto YouTube and look at some of what Rikers. This is if you get arrested in New York on a Friday, you're going to Central Bookings, which I believe is tied to Rikers Island. You're gonna, regardless of whether you go to Rikers or not, you're gonna be around some really fucking scary people they're crazy, they're demonic fucking evil people, and they're gonna try to, they're gonna try to fuck with you probably. And I mean, God only knows. I don't know what would happen, but I've heard from many people who've been to these places, it's brutal. But the Democrats just get away with it with impunity because they're criminals. It's a conspiracy. Then they smear you and call you a conspiracy theorist. No. Those emails and the hard evidence is all right there, and then they just smear you and everyone believes it. So, kind of crazy. It's a big deal. The Hunter Biden thing is a very, very big deal. We really have to understand that. If he gets elected, he's going to be in the pocket of these of gangsters, dude. They're going to literally just have their way with the American people and suck everything out of us and do whatever they want. It's crazy, man. There are some sick people out there. So that's about it, guys. Just want to put that out. I'll put some more content out in a little bit. Check out bradholiday.com. I've been uploading some pretty cool articles there for you. Hope you guys enjoy. Talk to you soon.